I'm Joshua Bardwell, and you're going to learn something today. In my review of the Aomway Commanders, I told you I was not going to do a head-to-head against the Attitude V4. We'd save that for another video. Well, I got a notification this morning that the Aomway Commander is back in stock at Banggood. No, don't go. It's out of stock again. It's already out of stock again, so don't go buy it. But I figured that let's go ahead and do the comparison video, because I know a lot of you guys are wondering. Stay tuned. So let me give you a little bit of a warning real quick before we get into this video, because I don't want to be accused of misleading you. I did in fact get a stock arrival warning this morning telling me that these goggles were back in stock at Banggood. And by the time I got out of bed and read the email and went and checked, they were sold out again. So I'm sorry to say you can't go buy these. But let's go ahead and just get this out of the way, because people are asking me which of these is better. And in some sense, I think that question may not matter for a lot of you. The fact that these goggles are selling out so freaking fast tells me that many of you have already decided they're the ones you want. And you're not wrong. Either of these goggles are worth the price, except for those of you out there who feel that $350 is preposterous to ask for any goggle. But if you assume that $350 is the price point where this kind of goggles are coming in, neither of these is junk. The Commander is better in a few ways than the Attitude, and the Attitude is better in a few ways than the Commander. And the question is just which of those ways you care the most about. And I hope I'm going to help you figure out which of those people you are. Now, many people have said that I also ought to compare the Dominator V3 in these shootouts, because the Dominator V3 also comes in at $350. But I don't think that's a fair comparison, because the Dominator V3 doesn't come with a module, a receiver module. So by the time you've bought a receiver module, you maybe have spent another $50 or even $100 if you're buying one of the premium ones, and now you're in a sort of a different price category. I will say this about the Dominator V3 though. If you know that you want to use a LaForge, a TrueD, a real ACC with the Achilles firmware, any of those, or any of the other modules that are out there who names aren't coming to me, if you know that you want to use one of those modules, Dominator V3 may be a good way to do it, because you're spending money on the goggles, you're not spending money on the module that you weren't going to use anyway, and they're pretty decent goggles. They are, however, widescreen 16:9 display, and so if you have a 4:3 standard aspect ratio camera, which many of us do, that image is going to get stretched. Many people I know who fly the Dom V3 say they get used to the stretch and they don't really notice it. And of course, if you fly a 16:9 camera, then that's a plus, not a minus, but it is certainly something worth considering. So about the Dom V3s, I would say if you're going to put a module in it anyway, think about the Dom V3s, because although the Attitude V4s have a module bay, it does not fit. And I've tried a LaForge, I've tried a TrueD V3, I've tried Achilles or a real ACC. I've tried them all. They don't fit. The very top here, you could shave this away and they would go in and it would work fine, but kind of make a mess of a really nice looking goggle. So that's up to you if you want to do that. If you're willing to mod these goggles, if you're willing to shave away the very top there, then you may prefer these for a LaForge or any of the other modules. They have a 4:3 display, which you might like better. But I'd probably go with the Dom V3s. So then, Attitude versus Commander. Same price. I'm going to boil it down for you. The Commander kicks the snot out of the Attitude on paper in terms of features. And the major feature it's got that the Attitude doesn't is diversity. Now, some people say that the Attitude receiver is so good that they don't miss diversity. That was not my experience when I did my range testing. I feel like the Attitude is at a real disadvantage because it lacks diversity. Unless you always fly pretty close into yourself, like if you're a racer and you're usually within a few hundred feet of yourself with no obstacles, maybe you won't notice a difference. But for general purpose flying, the lack of diversity on the Attitude is a big disadvantage. The Commanders have a whole bunch of other features that you might care about, like HDMI input, 3D support, and they got a lot of things right. Like, geez, come on, Fatshark, can we have something like this? Why do I gotta to fit you so you could take the SD card out really easily? So nice. But those features are they're not the killer feature that's going to make you pick the goggle or not, right? They're nice to haves, and many of us won't use any of those features at all. So I don't think that's a deal breaker. The Commanders do have a 16:9 display. However, they can letterbox a 4:3 display as well. I still prefer a native 4.3 display because when they letterbox, I can see the slightly lighter part of the screen off to the side, and I find that a little distracting. If you fly 16:9 cameras, of course, then you're just going to watch in 16:9, and not everybody may be as picky about that pillar boxing. It's not letterboxing, it's pillar boxing technically, but you may not be as picky about that as I am. What the Fatsharks have going for them is Fatshark's reputation for build quality and support. Okay, and that's if you care a lot about that, then these are the ones you're going to buy. If you're not going to get a bunk Fatshark goggle, and if you do get a bunk Fatshark goggle, they're going to take care of you. And if your Fatshark goggle breaks 2 years from now, you're going to reach out to support@fatshark.com, and the guy, I think his name is Randy, is going to answer you. And he's going to tell you, hey, send them in, we'll fix them. Maybe they'll fix them under warranty. Oh, warranty? I don't know anything about warranties. Okay, maybe they'll fix them under warranty, or maybe they'll charge you, $50 to put a new lens in or something, but you can get them fixed. You're not going to be buying a new one just because you left them out in the sun and you burned the screen. I'm exaggerating a little bit. If you buy these from a reputable vendor like GetFPV, they're going to take care of you because that's how they make their money. That's how they make their reputation. And even a vendor like Banggood is known to occasionally actually have customer service. I guess it's true. They'll send new stuff out. Your mileage may vary, but you know for a fact that Fatshark's going to take care of you. The other thing about the Attitude that I think is an advantage for it is I like the screens with a display. This will get the job done, and having the readout in the goggle where you can see what channel you're on, it'll get the job done. But I really like being able to see the signal strength on each of the channels so I can see who else is up. Like if I get to a field and people are flying, I can flip through the channels here on the display and I can see what the signal strength is, find a channel that nobody's using, or if I'm trying to, all kinds of reasons why I like that. Of course, I like the actual, the full-fledged modules better, but I certainly might pick these goggles because that display is a little easier, a little more informative than the on-screen display on the Commanders. And that's going to bring us to the end of the video. In some sense, no real surprises here. Yeah, the Fatshark goggles, they're better built and have support, but they're not as feature-rich as the Commanders. The Commanders, tons of features on paper, but are you going to use those features? And if the goggles are they're messed up when you get them, or if they break 6 months down the road, what are you going to do? And then if you want a goggle, the Dominator V3s get an honorable mention for being the cheapest goggle that will actually natively take one of the Fatshark modules if that's what you want. For me, if I had to pick between these three, what would I pick? I gotta say, for me, the answer would be the Dom V3s. And the reason is that I just like the Fatshark modules so freaking much. Like, have you seen the sneak preview that UBAD released of LaForge 3.0 firmware? They're so freaking cool. And it's not just that they're cool because they have blinky lights and a cool screen, but that they make it easier to use the module on a day-to-day basis, finding frequencies, getting on the right frequency, finding your copter when it's down, all these things that you can do with them, just so nice to have. And so that's the one I would pick, is the Dom V3s with an aftermarket module like a real ACC with Achilles, Trudy, or LaForge. Between the Attitude and the Commanders, I think I would pick the Attitude. And no. See, the thing is, the Attitude fit my face much better. The Commanders were not comfortable to wear, but the Commanders do have the diversity, and that's going to tip the scale for me. I would buy the Commanders. I got to say, though, I would push that buy button with a big grimace on my face. I've heard some stories from people who got their goggles in the last month or so, saying things like one screen was much brighter than the other. And so it does make me wonder if, clearly there's something going on with Aomway's production, because these goggles have been out of stock forever and everybody wants them. So if they could be selling them, why aren't they? So they're having trouble getting them out. And then we see stock hit and people say, oh, well, the screen was brighter than the other. Maybe they cut some corners in production to get them out. I don't know. This is pure speculation. I don't want to be accused of maligning anybody, but I am telling you the truth about things people have told me about the goggles they've got. So I would probably take the Commanders because they have diversity, and I would roll the dice that I didn't get it. I tell you what, if you do buy the Commanders, try to buy them from a vendor is going to back you up, like GetFPV or any of the well-known vendors. Banggood has been doing better and better with customer service. I hear more and more good stories about their customer service. They say, I got a frame, it was messed up, they sent me a new one. But on an expensive item like this, they're not just going to send you a new one. So it's going to be a hassle if you get one that's not right. And you just got to take a chance that you'll do that. Hope this video was helpful. Hope it helped you decide which of these you're going to buy. Thanks for watching. Happy flying.